Here we go.
Got it.
All right, welcome everybody. Welcome to the Q&A for the program of the Sci Fi Future, part of the SF Indie Fest Indie Shorts Festival 2021. Good to have you here. Thank you, audience members, for attending the films and coming to the Q&A. My name is Jason Willis. I'm the Shorts Fest programmer, and today we're very lucky to have the filmmakers with us. Hey, filmmakers, thanks for joining. Congratulations to all of you. We got a great mix of short films, sci-fi films in this program. Really enjoyed all of them. Really entertaining. Well done. So maybe as an icebreaker, because there are so many films and I got to refresh my memory and refresh your memories, why don't you go around the room? I'll call on your name, introduce yourself, maybe what your role was too, because sometimes a writer or an actor comes on board for the Q&A. So your name, your film, and your role, and then a brief synopsis, the elevator pitch, not the long-winded version of what your story is about. And Eugeno, I'll start with you. You're first on my grid.
Okay, let's do it. My name is Eugeno Villamar. I'm the director of the film She. The brief synopsis is London 2091. Two androids have been abandoned in an apartment after the evacuation. And one day, one is a male, one is a female, and one day the female decides that they need to go. So that's what the story is about.
Future, how far in the future would you say?
2091. Actually, it's an homage to Blade Runner in a way.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll talk about that. It's beautiful. Well done.
Thank you.
And Daniel says DM on the thing. Daniel, right?
Yeah, that's me here.
You're next, please.
Hi, I'm Daniel. I'm based in Vienna, and I'm a director and writer, co-writer of the Meet You 3 in this case. And Meet You is about what is it? It's a short pitch is it's kind of opera meets Pulp Fiction, and it's a way you see opera performed in an unusual style, I would say. And
I would say that too.
And we already did like two prequels before, so we did it the American way. We did kind of, the first one was a success, so we thought, okay, let's do the second and the third one.
The American way, huh? It was wild. Very wonderful. Well done. Alex, can I go to you next?
My name's Alex Roten, the writer and director of Endangered, which is a movie about a high school boy who contracts a endangered species parasite, and no one will let him get rid of it.
Yes, very clever, enjoyable as well. Thank you. Well done. And then I got Douglas, and then also the person that's with you. It's not that. Please introduce yourself as well. You're welcome to talk in.
You can start.
Okay, well, I'm Constantina Mantelos. I'm the writer and lead actress of Departure.
I'm Douglas. I'm the director, co-writer of Departure. Departure is about an irresolute housewife who finds out that her closest friends are going to leave Earth, and she has to decide between her husband's idealism about the decaying planet or following the rest of humanity off-world.
And I have several questions for all of you, but let's start with you two, since I left off with you two. Are you co-writers, did you say?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And are you together? I'm just curious. And
yes.
So you survived the writing process.
Yeah, we survived the writing.
How'd it go? How was that working experience?
We've actually written quite a few things together. We wrote our first short film together, Departure together. We've written a few features. It's an ongoing process. We actually really enjoy it.
Excellent. Yeah, we had a sort of a first short experiment, super low budget, our first like endeavor to see, is this a thing that we can collaborate on? And it worked out. So it turned out to be quite an inspirational process for the two of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do the same thing with my partner, and it's a roller coaster ride. We do survive it, and I do have other filmmaker friends where the laptop was the victim after the writing process. They've lost some computers. So, how about the other films too? What was the writing process like for you with sci-fi genre? Anyone? Alex.
For me, it was really just I had the idea of making kind of a women's rights allegory, and it kind of clicked in my head what I wanted to do with it. So it wasn't particularly arduous, and because I didn't have to work with anyone else, it was just me arguing with myself in my own head. So,
Eugeno, how about you? How was writing this this film?
Actually, this film was it's a metaphor more to a failed relationship. So it was written in a very Ray Bradbury way. There's a short story about a house that is abandoned, that is highly technological. It keeps making breakfast for people that is never there, and cleaning up. And it's a great story. If you have never read it, please read it. So it's a very Ray Bradbury story that I wrote actually to going to film school when I was going to film school. So it was one of the tests in the application.
Oh, okay.
It's
Wow.
it's a 10-year-old script actually, which actually right now it makes kind of sense in the future.
Yeah. All these films make sense.
Yeah.
Maybe too much sense, or they're too easy to relate to. Thanks. And then how about you, Daniel? How, I know this was version 3 or number 3. How was the writing process for this crazy?
I mean, writing of a concept is always easy. So it's like 2 lines or 5 or 10.
Right.
And then you go to the script and it's a pain in the ass. I'm not the guy who enjoys writing a lot. So that's why this time I wrote my co-writer, Eugen, a friend, and he said he can't be with us here. But it's like, these are kind of basically like 2 aliens, the mains in the MeTube series, the old mother and her 2 also kind of old son. And they try to endeavor into opera, right? And first they start from home. And in the first part, it didn't feel like they are aliens, right? They had some gadgets and they transform into something sci-fi, like Transformer. Radio transforms into a robot. And then they got the response from the YouTube community, and in my head, they had the self-esteem to go onto the street and pull off the craziest flash mob the world ever has seen. So this was a kind of really bad writing process because we had to visualize the 5-minute flick. It was a one-shot all on the computer before, so it was like an animatic. So this was kind of the script was like 2 pages or something, but this took 1 year,
Yeah. Wow.
And then the third one was kind of tricky because we tried to be a bit more narrative and to make kind of a usual film with edits and the classic way.
Yeah.
So this was like the shortest writing process, I would say, like maybe 3 months. We enjoyed it because I had a partner to ping pong with. So but it takes time, right? Even that, if you want to get attention, it takes always time.
It does. It's a laborious process, at least for me. It definitely helps to have a partner. So I envy when we can have a writing partner. So where did these movies come from? Daniel, I'll stay on you. I know you had, this is the third one. What's the inspiration? What inspired you to come up with this? Was it a seed of an idea, or is it a book? Where did it come from?
Basically, the inspiration. Okay, the inspiration is everything I've seen in my life. Okay, and then there is my friend, who's a talented opera singer, and he approached me and said, "Hey, here's the money. Make whatever you want to do, but I want to take part in it." And he's an opera singer, and I was thinking, okay, what can I do to highlight this guy? So this was the starting point of this voyage. And opera is quite old-fashioned, or it's received old-fashioned in the young generation since ages, I think. And so I tried to make something more modern. Yeah.
Fantastic! Wow, nice friend too.
Yeah. You need these kind of friends you need in life, especially as a filmmaker and artist. Yes.
Good for you. Douglas, what about your film?
So I mean, the answer kind of has like 2 small parts to it. The first one was Constantina and I challenged each other to come up with a script that would take place back when we shot it in my parents' new house, which is now like 4 years ago when we started perceiving this. Just because it was like a nice house, and we figured we could do a lot with it to create some kind of sci-fi look in it because it was very clean. And I think just the premise of the dying world is it's kind of been on our minds for a while, just because the world is dying.
So let me ask you, so because this happens a lot, especially in indie filmmaking, a location maybe inspired you too? Like we have this house, and then the other inspiration was like, we want to work together, write together on another piece. And so then you came up with this together.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's sort of, I feel like everything we write is kind of like that. We have a location, we want to write around it.
Yeah, and particularly this home that they had moved into was part of sort of a new development. And so what I always find visually stark about new developments is you have these gorgeous, gorgeous new homes, and then like kind of right next door, you have these kind of lots of dirt and totally clear-cut land. And I saw that and I thought there's something here in a science fiction story. There's something here that says something about our future here on this planet.
Kind of like the raw earth next to new development, just the juxtaposition was like, there's a story in there. That's wow. And then so from those two little kind of elements became this beautiful little film.
Yeah.
Fantastic. That's amazing. Alex, how about you? What was your inspiration?
In 2018, I was working for a company that in Dallas, Texas, that had a tendency to be ultra conservative, and I'm not. So it also, I was working there around the same time that the Brett Kavanaugh Supreme Court stuff was happening, and so there was a lot of the kind of the precursor to what is currently going on in the news was kind of starting then. On people's concerns about Roe v. Wade and stuff like that. And it just kind of, I guess, clicked with me that there are certain perspectives about that I thought would be kind of interesting to wrap into a monster movie and just have it be something that maybe does have a bit of a political message, but taking it outside the scope of just kind of my belief versus your belief, or where I believe life begins, or all that kind of stuff, and just kind of just turn it into a movie where a character goes through something horrible that everyone would agree with. And see if there's any chance in the world that would have changed someone's mind.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, all these films, they're all kind of sci-fi genre or the same kind of theme, but they could easily, there's such a mix and somewhat eclectic amongst themselves, so that we could almost program them in different categories, different blocks, if you would, like maybe comedy or some sort of other message. So it was really wonderful to see these all kind of different almost messages, if you will, in a sci-fi genre. Eugeno, what inspired you?
Well, my film, like I said, I wrote that script around 2008, and I've always been a fan of Kubrick. I've been a fan of Blade Runner, Ridley Scott. And when I was applying to my master's degree, there was a question. It's like you have two characters in a room. One wants to go, the other one wants the other one to stay. That was a question. And as usual, artists overdo it. So I overdid it. And I really thought that AI, which was one of Kubrick's films that he didn't have a chance to do,
right?
It didn't deliver to me what I wanted it to be. The Kubrickian
film. Is that the one Spielberg did though? He went and completed it. Yeah, okay.
Correct. It's a beautiful film though, but I felt that the Kubrick feeling was lost in a way, and I wanted to do something that did that, and it took me many years because it is a very complex film to perform as art for an actor, artist, makeup. So that's why it took so many years for it to come out of.
When did you complete it?
This year.
Oh,
this year.
Right
so I completed it 13 years after.
Wow. Congratulations. The other filmmakers, when did you guys finish your films and how long did it take? Alex, when was yours made?
So I said I wrote it approximately November 2018. We shot it starting in July of 2019, and it was done, kind of totally done as of about April of 2020.
Got it. And Daniel, how about you? When did you make it?
Why do you ask this question? It brings up so much terrible memories.
Oh, good. Then that's gonna be my next. That's gonna be my next question then.
No, it was finished last year, basically in July. But we were so much dependent on the post-production. That's the short version. And after the shoot, the money was quite gone. I had little money left for post, but the post is like, let's say at least 300,000, and we had like just a part of it, a small part. and then I started to beg, the whole world. I was thinking, no, I don't give this money to somebody, because always if you give money, this small amount of money to somebody else, people start to value themselves. How much do I get? How much do I deliver? So the challenge was to get it for free. I started to beg literally the whole world, everyone.
Yep.
And then it took a year of begging. So we shot it in 2018. And I thought, okay, maybe we make it to Sundance 2019. So we didn't make with the third one to Sundance at all. So that was the downturn. But we at least accomplished the film. So like 2 years later. Yeah.
Right. Well, that leads me to the next question that you just inspired me, and you probably don't want to answer this question. Other than begging for money, Daniel, and I'll get to you, Douglas and Constantine. What was the most challenging moment, or one of the most challenging things about making this movie?
That was the begging. A year.
It wasn't
just
begging.
Imagine 1 year of begging. I mean, is this challenging or not?
I've done it. I'm a filmmaker. I've asked for money, so.
Okay, maybe it's not usual for me to, but it was also fun. I had a really
maybe in a production process kind of challenge way. Was there any kind of events? A camera breaking, I don't know, the weather not cooperating, anything like that happen?
No, basically, the biggest challenge, you must imagine, I live in the theater city, Vienna. Everybody knows Vienna because of the stage, right? We couldn't find a place here to shoot 5 days in a row.
Location.
What the fuck? You mean the cheapest was like 60,000 or something for 5 days?
Wow.
Like, come on, guys. We got support for the second from the Bavarian State Opera. They gave us money and stuff, but they didn't even,
even if it was available, right? It was just
it was like no, I don't know. And then we looked in Austria, also not. And then we looked around, and then we shot on the border to Romania and in Hungary. In Hungary, it was like a really good support, but it took us also 4 months to find the location.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's stressful. Douglas and Constantine, when you make the movie, how long take, and then maybe each of you a challenge of making the movie?
We wrote and produced the film in 2018, shot it in August 2018, and then spent a little over a year in post because of all the VFX and sound design and score that went into it. The VFX took a good 5 or 6 months. Very talented artist, but only one artist, and she worked full time. So
slow, yeah.
Yeah, it was slow, and that was probably one of the more challenging parts of making the film. I actually can't remember. There is a scene in the film. There's the scene where they're like talking over wine in the kitchen. And our DOP, so our DOP Neil Hansen, very talented guy, excellent DOP, but he has like a lot of opinions about just like strange things, and one of his opinions,
don't all DPs have lots of opinions?
Exactly. He has this opinion that in the future, lighting in houses should be more like film lighting, like it should be smart lighting that makes people look pretty when just sitting down to have a chat.
And it's alive.
And it has to be alive. It has to be alive and interesting looking. So he felt very strongly that it would be interesting to shoot a scene where her kitchen lighting would have a dynamic, color changing, moving lighting pattern to it. And that involved borrowing 40 LED light bulbs and stringing them up along the ceiling, along thick cables just off of camera.
Yeah, and he created the program to make them like loop.
Yeah, and that, like, he had it in his head, and then the day came to shoot it, and I think we were up until like 3 a.m.
I was gonna say, you had to lose sleep over that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
by the time me and the other actresses got to set, we were quite sleepy.
I'm pretty sure our AD had to wake one of them up.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, tell your DP it looks fantastic.
I will.
Will do.
As well as all the special effects in all these movies. In Departure, you have the opening spaceship, right? The opening. I mean, there's a
Yeah.
The rocket.
going to Mars.
Yeah.
Going to Mars. Yeah, totally beautiful and believable.
Thank you,
Alex. What was a challenge for making your movie?
So you make a movie where kind of the central analogy is between sex and swimming, and you think, well, I need to film in a place where people can swim, and then you remember that you're in Los Angeles, and you need to pull a car up to the water, and you're in Los Angeles, and you're not going to do it at the beach. So finding a place where we could, with the crew and budget and time, go film near the water, which is central to the movie. That was the hardest thing to do.
Yeah. As if making a movie isn't hard enough by itself, but then film in LA.
Yes. I mean, permits and all that kind of stuff are annoying enough, but then doing that plus just trying to find a body of water at night, good luck.
Eugeno, what was difficult challenge for you?
The difficult challenge, well, we shot this year, and it was shot around, I would say, we started the process in April of this year, in a process of 4 months. And the problem was, first, as some of you know, Los Angeles is very difficult to pass for London, so because the story's in London. So it was very difficult because everything was shut down. We couldn't go to many places. And I found this hotel, actually, you see the lobby here behind me. It's the Millennium Biltmore, it's the Black Dahlia Hotel, the infamous, one of those infamous hotels, but it's a beautiful hotel that has been there forever. And that hotel gave us a lot of, help. But the only problem is we can only do it with 15 people. We only have 15 people in the crew. We were shooting in 35 millimeters, and it was tough because we had to go up and down in the building. They allowed us to film, but it was very tricky. And the second thing that was very tricky was makeup. That's why it took so many years for me to get comfortable to find a right makeup for the film, because it is very complex what we did on them. And until we found the right people with the right experience to do it, that's when I felt comfortable. And it was this year. Once the train left the station, it was very quick. But those were the two complexities on that film.
Well, you can tell in all these films, the production value is just fantastic. It's out of this world. You guys just spent the time and the patience and nailed it. Production value is wonderful. So let me flip it then. What's the favorite moment? What was a highlight of making? Maybe tell me a highlight of making your movie, and then a favorite scene. If you're sitting in a theater, if you're sitting in front of the screen and you see that's it's just like, I love this scene for my movie. We nailed it. We got it. We accomplished it. Eugeno, I'll continue with you.
Well, actually, there's a scene in which we enter into the main room where the two actors are interacting. That scene was shot. We were running out of film and we're running out of light. Our DP decided to shoot it available.
You shot on 35 or 16 or
35
Wow.
millimeters. And we were running out of film. The light was going down because we were working with the sun reflecting from a building. And it had to be timed exactly on, we had 40 minutes to do the sequence. And we shot it in the last 5 minutes of that sequence, and we got it in one shot. And once I saw it on the screen, I was like, wow, that's the vision I've been having for many years. And that's when you see it all together. When they're speaking and they're starting to get into the action and the movements, I was very impressed. That was a aha moment for me.
Yeah. Brings tears to your eyes. It's like, we got it.
Yeah.
Alex.
I don't know about a specific, fun moment. I tend to just enjoy the process of being on set and kind of the family environment of doing it. I think it's always kind of a little bit of a disappointment whenever it's over and you have to go back to real life again. So I think the fun in general is just like doing it. In terms of for my specific movie, and the thing that always pleases me, I think that it's always great to see someone peeing blood into a urinal. You know, that's always a good moment. So that one works for me every time. It certainly hurts a little bit to think about.
And yours also, Alex, man, it really creates a mood and atmosphere. These all create atmosphere. It's just like, you guys nailed it. Like you're there. You're in that space, you know? So good job. Daniel, favorite filmmaking moment and favorite scene, if you will.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe it's the face punch of the old lady, but I don't have a real favorite scene. I also feel kind of satisfied when I'm seeing basically the first scene of the movie where the casting director, or how you call them, you know, kind of Weinstein guy gets his anal probe because he's this disgusting guy before. So I think that's my favorite scene if I have to choose.
And you have no idea where this is going. I mean, this is only the version I saw. I didn't see 1 or 2, so I had no idea where this was going, and it was fantastic.
Thank you.
You sucked me in. Yeah, that guy was kind of an asshole for sure. How about Constantine, Douglas?
So I think for favorite filmmaking moment is different than favorite scene. My favorite moment in filmmaking was probably there's like the close-up shot of Phaedra earlier in the film where she's like waking up and like the room is waking up with her. There's like a blind in the background, the colors changing to yellow and everything. Organizing that was a lot of fun. There's like several people just off camera, just manually moving. Like, I'm pretty sure we had a cardboard cutout in the window to make it look like a sci-fi drape was moving up. That whole scene was really fun to orchestrate. I think my favorite.
Those weren't real drapes. What?
You don't have voice activated room sensors. I think my favorite scene in the movie, though, is the big argument, the big blow up between Phaedra and Tom, because we wrote that scene and I kept reading it back on paper. And when I was conceiving what it was going to look like, I had just watched Steve Jobs by Danny Boyle, and I loved that film was basically just 3 long conversations, and it worked perfectly in a 3-act structure. And I became very attached to the idea of shooting the dialogue scene between the two of them as one shot, just that we could get like a more theatrical performance out of the 2 actors. You could feel the buildup of the beginning to the end of the scene of the anger and the swelling. And I love that scene. Every time we've watched the film, that scene stood out to me as I think the strongest.
Funny you mentioned that scene. So that one's actually my favorite like moment on set, performing that scene, because it was a very like me and my good friend Hayden who plays Tom. It was very emotional scene. Everyone kind of gave us space to work. I think we got it on like the 3rd take, or I won't.
7.
Okay. Well, we did it a bunch of times. Navigating with our DOP, Neil. But the rewarding part of it was, as an actor, like, going through the sort of emotional toil of going through the scene, and then getting to see the crew, they started tearing up when we were shooting the scene, and getting to see that response just from the people in the room with us while we're recording this thing, that was very moving for me, to feel like we had, we might actually affect people with this film. And my favorite scene is actually, without providing too much context for anyone who hasn't seen the movie, when Phaedra comes down the stairs towards the end, at the end of the film, and kind of just surveys the home, and there's this like beautiful orange glow coming from the outside, just this sort of presence of Mars and where she's going, sort of all symbolic in that. I love watching that scene. I think it's so gorgeous.
Yeah, the audiences are in the moment in your films for sure. All right, well, we don't have much more time. It's running up fast here. Do you guys want to ask each other questions? Go ahead and do so now. I'll have one more question for all of you, but if you want to take a moment, raise your hand or call out the other person's name. I want to give you the opportunity. But the one thing I'm going to ask is, for me, you transported me. You put me in your world, which is an achievement. And so I was immediately drawn in and engaged and enjoyed all your films. Was there did you have intentions to make people feel something? One thing that I got from all your films was it's the future, obviously, but it's not that far away. Kind of, it's the near future, for better or for worse. Is there something you hope audiences will get out of your films, like a feeling, an emotion, an experience? Daniel, start with you.
I just did it for entertaining purpose. So
That's good.
I don't know. There was
That
not
works.
a kind of key message, but of course, robots take over the world.
No, that's a good answer, and I actually commend you for that.
I mean, be kind to each other, right? And
Yeah, but I
that's
do.
the
I
message.
think that's valuable because I see a lot of boring films. I see a lot of sleepy films. I was not with yours. I was entertained, so that is a fantastic result. Thank you.
very much.
Alex, how about you?
I obviously it doesn't end well. It ends very, very direly. I mean, I think the idea of doing a dark comedy where you're kind of following the character and you kind of start to, it's really just a matter of feeling bad for him. There's an inevitability to what happens, and as a viewer, it's not the main character's fault what happened, and just to end in that space and have people have to reckon with that. I think I always forget that it ends so dark, and then I see it again and I go, oh yeah, there you go. So I certainly that's a big part of it for me is having that. And I'm sure that someone would be like, well, couldn't you end it happier? No, I don't think so.
I definitely, among other things, was thinking differently about water after yours.
Yep.
Eugeno, how about you?
Well, like I said, my film is a metaphor for those relationships that you are trapped in. And it's an Adam and Eve story in which Eve is the one that wakes up. And it's a wake-up call to if you want to abandon that relationship, that you want to go and move on, or do something that you have not done because you're being lazy or you're delaying it or you're waiting for something, go ahead and do it. There's something outside, even your curiosity is going to lead you there. And that's what the film is really taking you in that direction.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
That's
for me, my immediate kind of response was like, communicate better with loved ones or friends for some reason,
Correct.
Yeah. Hey, Douglas and Constantine, was there a kind of emotion you were hoping to result in your audiences?
I feel like you're going to have a much clearer answer than I will with this one, but I love making people cry. It's my favorite thing to do as a director. It's malicious maybe, but I enjoy it.
No, it's emotional for sure.
Yeah, I think for me, it was, I think I wanted to give people a way to look at sort of this massive thing that's happening to our planet that for a lot of people can feel very, you can feel very distant from it, because how can you as an individual do anything to really make a difference? And I thought, to equate what's happening to our planet to a very personal story, a very personal relationship, essentially falling apart. I wanted to sort of allow people to personalize the bigger issue in the story by relating to the more small issue.
Because all the sci-fis we really relate to aren't the sci-fis that focus on only the big picture. It's the sci-fis that focus on individual character being affected by the bigger picture.
Well, on that kind of theme, any parting words? This is our last round of question here. I'll be with you, Constantine and Douglas, right now. Either advice to filmmakers or advice to the world, since sci-fi can relate to kind of those things. Any parting words for audiences or filmmakers?
Advice to the world: we need to stop killing the planet.
Right on.
Advice to filmmakers: I don't know, just write something you're passionate about and make it.
Right on.
Yeah, I'll second that.
All right, cool. Daniel, you're next on my view here.
Like I said, be kind to each other, and I can just sign that. What these two guys said just now. So yeah, just let's not kill our planet.
Indeed, right on. Thank you, Alex.
Approach people with more empathy. Now everybody's going through the same thing. And advice to filmmakers, if you can not make movies, don't, because a lot of work.
Thank you, Eugenio. Last but not least.
And
No pressure.
Stop. Thank you. It's like I would say, stop delaying that thing that you want to do. Take the chances. Go outside, do the things. We're in a new world, and as a new world, we need to be empathetic. We need to be loved, but also we need to go for things that we have been waiting for. It's a new chance every day.
Right on. Wonderful words, guys. I could keep talking to you for hours here. That went really fast, but unfortunately, that's all the time we have. I hope to meet you guys in person someday, or even better, on a film set. But that's all the time we have. So a pleasure to speaking to all of you. Congrats on getting into the film festival. Good luck on your festival circuit run, your film careers in the future. And thanks for participating. You're lovely. Thank you.
Thank you too.
Thank you very
Nice
much.
meeting you all.
Nice to meet you.
Bye, guys.
Okay.
Be well.
Bye.